Olex Network 18, Mission Poshan, Bhavishya Roshan.
Well, as farmer groups have taken to different parts of the country, different states, their agitation will involve not really going on the roads and protesting. It will be more about ensuring that the supplies like milk, sugar and others do not reach the states that they will be agitating in. Now, to get an understanding as to why this whole agitation, which will be spread over 10 days, which has started today, of course, we have Mr. Reddy, who's joining us from the farmers group here. Welcome to CNBC TV18, sir. Let me first begin by asking, is it a full 10-day agitation and will it be spread across the country, across the 8 states that have already been mentioned?
What is pertinent in this particular strike is that almost majority of the farmers have realized what are the demands. Whether it is in the name of Swaminathan, every farmer knows what is Dr. M.S. Swaminathan's report is and what he meant by cost of production plus 50% and other demands. The second issue is, if you see during 17 and in the beginning of 18 also, there were many agitations in Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, I mean across the country. But for the first time, we have initiated a strike across the country. And there is only small variations because, see, there was this communication problem with each state. As far as Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Haryana, Punjab, even Maharashtra and Uttar Pradesh, this is going to be almost a 10-day strike because there we have very, very efficient leaders. Mr. Sharma is there, Kakkaji is there, and then you have other friends across these states, and they are all working in a sort of a cohesion. The problem comes mostly in non-Hindi states because the communication between Hindi and non-Hindi states, there was a slight delay. So this particular 10-day affair will be limited in the other than Hindi states. For example, Orissa, even Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka and other states, this may be for 1 day. And some of these states may take up later. But during this 1-month period, there is going to be an agitation on this charter of demands almost in every part of the country.
But so why cut supplies to different states? Why go ahead and cut the supplies of basic essential commodities that the citizens are likely to get?
I would put it this way. Why I think the media, intellectuals, middle class and organized sectors in cities must understand why is that farmers are going on strike. You know, farmers, we are the producers of food and we are called Annadasas, blah, blah. And you have been hearing in TVs and newspapers our farmers are committing suicides, distress. And every educated middle class man knows that service and industrial sector is growing at 8 to 10%, whereas agriculture is hardly 1%. There are mass migration, suicides. I would put this question the other way around. What are the reasons why farmers got angry? Today, I would say don't call it strike. You see, we are very, very angry and upset. The reasons are 2, 3. If I put it in a simple manner, if you analyze the service and industrial sector growth, 3 basic factors are responsible for the growth. Number 1, technologies. Number 2, investments. Third is market reforms. From 1990 till 2018, all these years, there was no technology available to farmers. I don't know whether you are aware, but I can tell you later. And look at the investments, they are next to nothing. And reforms, there are no reforms, still there are controls. To be what we farmers have realized is, it is government of India that is indirectly curbing the farmers' profitability by various methods. It could be Essential Commodities Act, it could be by imports, it could be by stopping exports, and it could be by restricting technologies availability, various factors. I don't want to go into detail. The first thing, all the urban people, organized sectors must start thinking and asking and discussing why farmers are going on strike. See, yesterday there was a 2-day bank strike, or I think maybe about a couple of lakhs bankers went on strike. Why is that media didn't ask bankers why they are going on strike? The lowest employee in bank is perhaps drawing 40 to 50,000 rupees. And a central and a government of India or state government, a peon, a chaprasi draws 30 to 40,000 rupees. Now, can you tell me how many farmers are there out of 180 million farmers' families who make this much money? That is for you people, for the media, the intellectuals, middle class, the so-called well-to-do people, so-called middle class people to answer us. Not we don't need to answer you. Don't worry. You see, you are talking as if in 2 days, if I cut down milk and vegetables, you are all worried. No, nothing is going to happen. Have you ever realized why we farmers are such in distress, why we are angry, why we are upset? What is the reasons why this calamity has come to farm sector? There is so much distress in the entire farm sector. See, the reason is we are not angry against anybody. But remember one thing, all these 50, 60 years, farmers per se never went on strike. But you know, few things have happened in the last 10 years. Firstly, in 2006, these Congress people, Swaminathan report was prepared. We all expected that it will be implemented. Like a typical Congress, Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, the showmasters and jokers in 10 Janpa, they kept the report in cold storage for 10 years.
So let's not get into the political debate, sir.
No, 1 second.
Sir, okay, no, I understand what you're saying. Swaminathan committee recommendations have to be implemented. Let's get into that, sir. Let's get into the issue. Could you help us understand which are the committee recommendations that you want implemented?
Sorry?
Which are the Swaminathan committee? Which are the Swaminathan committee recommendations that you believe should have been implemented right now, which is hurting farmers' income and farmers' growth?
Now, you are asking me a question. I wish you could have read BJP manifesto of 2014. The first point says 3 basic items. The first one is MSP at cost of production plus 50%, and then make available inputs cheaper, and then link Manrega with farming. This is the first one here. Now, I would ask you a question. I mean, I'm not asking you a question. I would pose this question to Government of India, Modi and all the political parties. When Congress and allies has failed, we all supported Mr. Modi. And Mr. Modi not only gave all lectures and all that, this was part of BJP manifesto. Now, in 4 years, these are all the assurances part of Swaminathan report, which BJP has put in manifesto. And in 4 years, Mr. Modi did not implement. What do you expect us to do?
Right, so once the committee recommendations are implemented, farmers will put off this agitation. Will they be less angry? Is that what you're trying to say, sir?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Why doubt? See, everybody wants a secured income, like other sectors. We also want secured income. We also want some sort of a protection against losses, you see, whether it could be natural calamities or market fluctuations. And after 30, 40 years of working, we want some basic remuneration as a pension. Don't you think we deserve that? 30, 40 years, we work 24 hours a day. We slog and we work like worse than animals. And after 30, 40 years, the governments have no basic minimum courtesy of giving us a maybe 3, 4, 5,000 rupees pension. I mean, Congress hasn't thought of it. BJP hasn't thought of it. Most of the other so-called leaders hasn't thought of it. Why don't you think? Why do you think we are angry? We are angry, really angry, ma'am, because we are upset. We are disappointed. We know what Congress is. So when Mr. Modi come, we had a lot of expectations, not because of anything. Number one, his performance in BJP was by and large good. And then these things have matter. In 10, 15 meetings, he made an open promise, and then they gave in a manifesto. We expected in a manner who will honor. Now, within 15 days of his coming into Supreme Court, this is an affidavit filed by Mr. Modi in 2015, February in Supreme Court. Within 7, 8 months, the BJP government went back, and Mr. Modi says he can't give MSP. So we waited. We went on making represented. Then they appointed this Niti Ayog. We went on making representations. And you know what happened in the 2, 3 months back? The present Niti Ayog chairman, Dr. Rajiv himself said, we were not able to achieve the desired growth. We are not able to keep promises. Now we will keep working. Well, he's not a politician. As a professional, he said something. But look at Mr. Modi or this BJP president. They don't say anything. They are bluffing. See, one of the worst things that Mr. Modi and BJP is doing, they claim they are paying the cost of production plus 50%. It is totally absurd. It's a fraud played on farmers. What do you know what he has done? He simply now says that your investment and etc. will be added, that will become cost of production. I would tell you, ma'am, you see, 40% of farmers are tenant farmers. I pay 8 to 10,000 rupees to farming, as a tenant, and then that is not included in MSP. Then I pay interest on my investment, that is not included in this thing. Then there is insurance, investment, all these investments. And he says, Mr. Modi says, in the MSP they are not included. But if you see Swaminathan report or any basic agriculture economist you will ask, he will simply tell you when the production cost means investment, family labor, interest thereon, tenancy payments and all these things together plus 50%. Now I would say Mr. Modi should have minimum courtesy of saying, भैया देखिए हम 50% नहीं दे सकते, बस 20% देंगे. अरे ये तो लेक्चर बहुत बोलते हैं मगर काम तो करते ही नहीं है when it comes to किसान. Now this is the practical problem. Unfortunately what has happened to farmers is people don't understand what is cost of production of farmers in India, because in different places it differs. But then you have a big government institutions. Whereas even then, look at the organized sector. The journalists have a wage board, and government employees have pay commissions, and bankers have their own commissions. You see, but whereas when it comes to us, you have only one institution like CACP, and CACP doesn't follow the economics and statistics collected by Ministry of Agriculture. Now this chap has developed a peculiar mechanism collecting so-called data from 5,000 people, and he goes with his own recommendations, and that will go to cabinet, and they will take decisions. You see, this is a big fraud. This fraud is now realized by farmers, and in the last 3-4 years, slowly across the country, cutting language barriers, religious barriers, slowly farmers have come together and launched an agitation.
Right, so then let me end by asking just one last question as to how will the anger subside? So what are your demands, immediate demands from the government right now?
I don't know whether you are aware what Mr. Modi did few months back. He has appointed a Ashok Dalwai committee,
right.
And he has prepared a big report. It hasn't come forth today. All the time suggesting to Mr. Modi is the best way to resolve this issue is you convene a special parliament session, prepare a big agenda, not only the political parties, also seek mandate from people. Put those things in the open channel and let every farmer also answer whether these things, you can hold a referendum. I mean, after all, we are not animals, isn't it? We are part of this country, we are citizens, we are food producers. Why don't you ask us? Let Mr. Modi hold a referendum. You see, at least, you see, out of 180 million farmers, at least 50% of us can say yes or no in our own regional language. We'll give a referendum.
Thank you so much for your time here at CNBC TV18, Mr. Reddy.